Hey everybody, Crystal Gamer here, and welcome to the Bellisimo Hotel. This is a boutique hotel. It's probably one of my largest builds to date. It's not so much large in size. I think it's only a 50 by 50 lot, but this place is huge. It has a ton of suites. It's got a restaurant, it's got a lounge, it's got a gym, a conference room. It just has a bunch of stuff, plus a rooftop deck that's beautiful, and yeah, all of this stuff. So we tour this place today and we go through the whole thing. So it's quite the tour. It took me forever to put this video together too. Oh my God. Cause it's a pretty big tour, but when we get to the rooms upstairs, I actually end up doing overheads because it was going to take me way too long to go through each of the rooms. I think it's, how many rooms did it say in the beginning? 12 or 13. I can't remember how many suites it is, but yeah, it's 12 or 13 suites. So it's a ton of suites. It's big, and get this. This is my very first build in Sims 4. I'm finally releasing it. I have had this build forever, and yeah, it's the very first build that I did in Sims 4. And yeah, go big or go home, right? 50 by 50 with, you know, a ton of suites, and the suites are all individually appointed, right? So it's almost like I did 12 or 13 apartments in one single build. So yeah, it was quite the thing. But it's modeled after different parts of it are kind of modeled after different boutique hotels that I have stayed in. I'm a really big fan of boutique hotels. And if you're not familiar with boutique hotels, what boutique hotels are basically hotels that have 100 or less rooms, 100 or fewer rooms, rather, I should say. So they're smaller hotels. They tend to be usually kind of fancy and exclusive. Not always, but they tend to be, because they are smaller hotels and they're not like your Motel 6, you know. They'll have different amenities and stuff like that. Like they might have a lounge on site, or, you know, just like this one is, you know, like they'll have a really nice pool space or something like that. So, or just different things on offer. Like I stayed at a boutique resort that was in Costa Rica once that was absolutely amazing, and right at the resort they had or at the hotel, I can't really call it a resort, they had I think it was like 26 bungalows or something, individually done bungalows, and they had what do you call it, zip lining over this awesome canyon and everything right at the resort, which was cool. They had a place to eat, a restaurant, bar place right at the hotel and everything. It was really nice. And it was Costa Rica. It was a very small place. And my husband and I both like these. We'll do the big resorts. Like, we get, if he sells so much in his job, we sometimes get sent different places for vacation, like basically meeting certain sales quotas will get sent someplace. And so what we'll often do is we will go with their, like, wherever they send us, which is almost always like these huge resorts that, you know, that everyone in the world goes to. And then I'll usually extend the trip and I'll do the latter half at some little boutique hotel somewhere, and so we get two very different experiences. And so yeah, so this is modeled off of a few different places that I've stayed at, just pulling different ideas from different places, you know, as far as like what's in it, like nice upscale restaurant and lounge and stuff like that. And I made everything in this entire build is all indoor outdoor. So in my head, this is in an awesome Mediterranean type location where you would have just this. You would have this whole indoor outdoor thing, which I think would be really cool. Like even in the restaurant where we're at now, like being able to sit with the open windows and stuff like that, I think would be really neat. So you've got that whole indoor outdoor experience, and basically the whole building essentially has kind of like the whole indoor outdoor thing, except for the obvious rooms, you know, like the kitchen that we're going to go into in a second, the restaurant's kitchen, and then the restrooms, you know, things like that. Obviously you're not exposed to the outdoor for those. And I went kind of plain on the kitchen. I didn't, this is such a big build. It took me so long to do this build, I can't even tell you. And I can't, The only thing that's kind of like crummy is because I'm doing the channel now and I have to get stuff out more. I don't have time to do builds like this anymore, which is sort of sad because I used to do these big builds, but back before I had the channel, I did larger builds than I do now, but I just don't have the time with trying to actually create the builds and the videos and all of that stuff. Plus I'm writing now all the time, as those of you who follow me regularly will know. I'm actually writing novels and stuff and a couple of short stories here and there. I'm doing Simlit, by the way. If any of you guys have ever heard of Simlit, I'm finally doing it. It's put out by Lisa B. Sims, and if anyone out there likes to write, she does these fairly regularly. I think she was on hiatus for a good portion of this year, but she does them, I think, fairly regularly, like maybe monthly or something, where it's short writing, just little short stories. And I can't believe, honestly, the one that is for this month is a Halloween thing, and it was a 900 word maximum. And personally, I didn't feel like I could write anything in 900 words, and I actually managed it. So I'm proud of myself for actually fitting something into 900 words. That was amazing. But yeah, so I'm doing that this time, and I try and do little challenges and stuff, but I just don't really have the time for builds that are this involved, something like this. It's almost like with all the suites, like 13 different suites, it's almost, and you know, a restaurant, a lounge, conference room, all this stuff, gym, all of this stuff. It's almost like it's, I don't know, like 15 builds in one host, you know. Oh, I forgot to mention, we do have some extra artwork in this, and I will write the names of the people below. I believe I used both Juwels64 and Takissis, I think. Hopefully, fingers crossed I say that name right. She let me know on one of the videos, and I said, I'm going to try and remember that, and I'm so bad, but I think it's Takissis, but I'll put the names below in the comment section if anyone is interested in downloading any of the artwork or just checking out their galleries. And honestly, I recommend checking out their galleries because both of them have very good galleries. There's a few people out there that have some very nice galleries for that have different artwork and stuff like that, and they're all CC free. So, you know, if you're a non-CC user or something, you can still use the artwork. I don't quite know how they do it, but however they do it, it's very, very cool. And it gives you, like, at least for me, it just opens up so much more as far as making builds look a little bit different, you know, just having some different artwork than what's in the game, because I don't know, you get sick of the same stuff all the time. And I don't do CC too often because it's just, I have so many gigs of CC and moving it in the game, moving it out of the game. And a lot of times I need to be non-CC. So oftentimes lately I've just been leaving it with non-CC, and I haven't played with CC in a while. I kind of miss it though, because there's just so much more when you know, play with other stuff that's added in. But you know, hey, it is what it is. We're going into the gym in a second. So this place pretty much has everything that you need for, you know, a nice hotel stay. And I just kind of did here a little bit what I did with the bathrooms, in that I went in one and then back out again. I didn't go into the showers and stuff. The rooms were just too small. So I just kind of like traverse into one, give us a little feel for how the bathrooms look, and then go, or the locker rooms look, and then go back out. But yeah, sometimes the bathroom spaces are just a little bit too small to be able to do as part of the video tour. And notice, look, when you look in the mirrors, the doors, you can't see the doors are not right. That's a game bug right now that has been reported. Hopefully they fix that. There's a few doors in the game right now that are not showing up properly, and those there apparently one of them, but they're showing properly when you see them, but not in a mirror. So that's kind of interesting. But hopefully they'll fix that stuff soon. It's been reported, and it's one of those things that is out on the headquarters site with a lot of Me Too's on it. So that's a good thing. Oh, and I liked putting the ship in the middle here. I had it on a pedestal, and then I said, you know, I'm going to throw it in some water because that makes more sense. So that was kind of fun. Oh, and this second floor top area that we're going to, that we go to first, this is like a little throwback to a piano bar from one of the resorts that I went to. Several of these type of resorts will have something like a little piano bar or something like that. And so I basically made this open air piano bar place where it's got this casual like couch seating and stuff so couples can sit down and listen to the pianist and everything. And the ceiling is one of the glass ceilings. So yeah, it's open air with the glass ceiling and everything. And in my head at the boutique, they play at the piano, you know, every night they'll have a pianist come in for a couple of hours and play the piano there. And then too, we have the beautiful rooftop deck, which is also something that's inspired by a small boutique resort that I stayed at down in Cozumel. Actually, we had a bar and a couple of jacuzzis up at this rooftop deck. Unfortunately, the majority of the time that we were there, one of the jacuzzis was broken and the other one was never super hot. So that was kind of a little bit disappointing, but the bar, dude, was amazing. My husband had margaritas a la Jose like the entire time we were there. And I watched this guy pour a margarita once, and it was a 14 count margarita. For those that know anything about bartending, that have ever learned how to pour a shot, most bartenders will have a shot count of 3 or 4, and you can count. If you know any bartending, you can count and you know how many shots of alcohol are put in a drink. And this dude, I think 14 was the highest I count. He had a 14 count margarita that he made for my husband one time. I think he just didn't want, like, I think he was saving himself work, actually. I think the guy was kind of smart. Like, he's saving himself work. So he just made these killer drinks that were incredibly strong. And so that you didn't come back to the bar too often, because like one drink and you'd be completely plowed, you know. So, and it was an all-inclusive too. That was an all-inclusive boutique resort. So yeah, my husband had a good time with the booze on that one. 14 count margaritas. That was just crazy. Jesus was his favorite bartender ever. Like, out of everywhere we've gone, we still remember. And that was an early trip of ours. We actually refer to it as our honeymoon. It wasn't because it was actually a couple of years later, but it was the first big trip that we actually ended up taking together. So yeah, that was quite a few years ago, and we still remember Jesus to this day. He is our most memorable bartender because he got my husband plowed like every single time. That was a good time. And just the rooftop bar in general, that was nice. You went up on this rooftop bar, and we were in Cozumel. And if you guys are familiar at all with Cozumel, it's an island right off of Mexico. And so we're up at the rooftop bar, and of course this place is on the beach and everything. And so they would open it for the sunset, so you could go up to the rooftop and watch the sunset. And it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. That was one of my favorite places that we have ever stayed at. And unfortunately, it's no longer around, I don't believe, or it's been ate up by some big conglomerate or something like that, which is sad. It's so hard to find boutique hotels like this because they do tend to get gobbled up by the really large, you know, your Marriotts and all of these different places that do these big resort things. They tend to buy them out, and you know, so they're actually, it's kind of hard to find boutique resorts like this. But as you can see, we're going through, and every suite is a little bit different. Some have multiple beds, some will only have one bed, you know, so they sleep a different amount of people. This one here that we're looking at has a hot tub, which is kind of a nice little feature. So they all have kind of like different little features, like different little pros to each of them. They'll have like different deck sizes and stuff like that. And then pretty much all of them have at least a tiny kitchenette that includes a coffee maker. And I think I included a microwave in most of the rooms. I'm not 100% on that, but I think I included a microwave in most of the rooms. But yeah, so different size stuff. Dang, we just circled this whole area multiple times. I think I made a mistake there. It felt like, did we just circle that, like go around in a big 360? I think we did. Whatever. Anyway, that may have been a little bit of a mistake on my part on doing the recording. You know, it took so long to do it. I probably got confused because it really did. It took this tour was quite a lengthy tour to do, just so many rooms and all of that. Oh, and I did update the build. You know, I said this was my first build, but I did a few updates. Like I added some lounge chairs and things like that that we've gotten since I did this build, because when I say this was my first build in Sims 4, I want to say this build is like 3 or 4 years old. So it doesn't, if anyone wants to download it, it doesn't have like that many packs. Because at the time when I did this, I think I only owned maybe 4 or 5 packs at the time. So it's actually done with only like base game and a handful of packs. And so I added a couple of things after the fact, like, you know, I added some lounge chairs and stuff like that. And the rooftop deck, I had added that. I had that up there, but I didn't have hot tubs at the time. So because those are, I think the hot tubs are specific to maybe Vintage Glamour. And everyone hates the Vintage Glamour pack, but I think that's the one that comes with the hot tubs. And you gotta have hot tubs, man. We should have hot tubs in base game besides just the, they gave that hot tub with the roof thing over it. There should be a regular hot tub in base game, in my opinion. You shouldn't have to have a separate pack for a hot tub, but I guess they try and do that, you know, sales purposes. They're always trying to make the money, and goodness knows with all the packs and everything, they definitely make the money. So this one is an interesting suite. It's got an interesting shape. I'm not sure I'm entirely sold on the carpet. Honestly, I wish we had more carpet selection in the game. I wish we had more carpet selection and more tile. I feel like we are so limited on tile selection. But this suite, I like the shape of it, but I'm not sure I'm entirely sold on the carpet thing in it. But it has a pretty good kitchen, and it's got a separate living room. So this particular suite has some nice features with that. And the bathroom is pretty sizable too. So like I say, each suite is different, and each suite offers, it's like every suite has like a little bit of a different vibe. They have different spaces, some more space than others. This one has a lot of space with having the living room and kitchenette when you come in, and then having this big bathroom and everything. This is one of the larger suites. I think most of the largest suites I think are in the corners with the corner balconies, if I recall. It's been so long since I built it that I can't even fully remember, although I did the tour through, so I have a little bit of an idea, because, you know, obviously I had to kind of look at it to do the whole tour thing. This is one of my favorite rooms. I love purples. The purples look very cool to me. And it's a pretty large suite as well. And it's got a predominantly black bathroom with accented in purple, which I think is kind of a nice little thing too. So, yeah. So, goodness, when we're still going, man, we are still going, and we still have a couple of minutes left, but we are getting a little bit closer to the end. So I guess I'm going to talk about a couple of more things. This week's schedule is going to be, I think, a little funky because we are approaching Halloween, and I am part of a massive collab with that's run by Sadie Sims, and it's got a whole bunch of people on it, and basically everyone and their brother is releasing Halloween builds this coming week. And I think, I'm not sure if everyone's scheduling to release on the 31st, but that's kind of what it's looking like. I think Sadie said we can release early though if we want. So basically what I'm getting at is I don't think I'm going to have a Thursday video, but I'll be releasing sometime between now and Halloween a Halloween build. So I have a house that it's actually for vampires and witches, and it sort of goes, I've sort of incorporated this a little bit with the other project that I'm doing, and it's not, they don't tie in perfectly with the SimLit project. I mean, they don't tie in perfectly, but I used the house for it for some photos and stuff. And so yeah, I sort of tied them in and you know, made the Sims I needed for the SimLit project to go in the spooky house, and yeah, all that stuff. But anyway, point being, part of this huge collab for this build, and so I'll be getting that video ready, and that's going to be my next one out. I'm just not sure it's going to be a regular Thursday video. I think it's going to go out later because it's part of the collab. So that is really the message that I'm trying to get across. So yeah, fun stuff. What else can I tell you guys about? There's not too much more to tell you about this place because you guys have been seeing it as we've been going, and it's a bunch of different suites. So, and we're coming to the end of it, so I can't really tell you too much more about this. hopefully you enjoyed it. We're doing this overhead. I do this overhead for scanning the whole bottom so that you can see it, because I had locker rooms, like I said, I had locker rooms, bathrooms, things like that we couldn't really get into in the video. So, but hopefully you guys like this build. And if you enjoyed the build, if you enjoyed the tour, if you enjoyed me gabbing about all sorts of stuff, definitely don't forget to hit that like button before you head out. And if you're not yet subscribed and you like Sims content, I put out all kinds of stuff. I do builds, build tours, challenges, pack reviews, trailer reviews, sometimes cast videos and fashion shows, and just a whole bunch of different stuff. So if you're into Sims content, definitely hit that subscribe button before you head out. Make sure you hit the little bell for notifications. You guys know the routine. Same for everyone. Help support our YouTubers. And I appreciate it so much. I appreciate y'all spending the time with me today. Thanks so much, and you have a good one. Bye now.